Good morning, laddies. My name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Zuku was the Earth Mover from Batman the Brave. Or Brave. Yes, him. So, let's kick things off with after he was born, like when he was 4 years old and he went to school. Well, he was going around checking things out until one of the people, or one of the villains, actually says, "If I was you, I would just get out before," as he dumped chemical, and it was filling the entire cave. It was a mining trip, like going to. So, yeah, Zuko got left, or actually they all hopped into a cart thing, but the entire students and teachers, as he jumped out and pushed it like hard, as he tripped on a rock and hit his head. So, like a same coincidence. But instead of him having Rebel on him, and turning into this one, he turned into or the chemicals surrounding his entire body, like the one that you see before you. So they thought he was dead. News spread out like wildfires of a villain attack, and it was too radiation, too much. So years have passed, and Inko gave birth to Zumi, the first school that Zuko used to go to. Actually got banned from going on any more field trips to the mine cave. So, yeah, then there's these creatures comes out every single day. He had to fight them. All the pro heroes had to fight them. So, yeah. But one day, one of them looked more human. Kind of had this similar green hair as Zuko, but looks like Kurt. So, yeah. He goes to UA. And he passed class, or he passed everyone. Like, he broke a world's record. So, yeah, he basically walked around. He goes to class 1A. And yes, I'm skipping the ball throw because and the heroes versus villains. And yeah. So he doesn't talk much, or he doesn't talk at all. He just looks at them like, huh. Because he's like literally in this, he's controlling everything. So, yeah. So he's more silent, or he does not even make a sound. That freaks some students out. And yesterday, as he goes in, yeah, and he sees the villain that put the chemical in the mines, the like gold mines things, as he's upset, as tens thousands of these comes in, as their eyes glowed red with hatred for him, went and like smacked him around with such force that even everyone's or it was such brutal fight. Like everyone, all the villains were injured, like badly injured. It's craziness. As they went back, as he tears up with the hands on his side, it like so yeah. As Mr. Aizawa sees, it's a man's quirk. As Mr. Aizawa is thinking in his head of how this kid conjured up those things. Might ask him that, but as he pushes it in the back of his head, so he goes as he literally there was some suspicions going around. Nezu's like, On this file, it says Zuko Midoriya. Huh. But he's been dead for years. Since after, as he says, All Might, or so All Might comes in and he says, "What's up?" You know that student, the one that doesn't talk and he's in class 1A? The Zuko Midori. Oh, that blue haired girl, or green one. Yeah, I do know him. Well, on here, his real name is Zuko Midoriya. Huh. Well, as Inko, like from that day that Zuko got killed, was, yeah, she always had like nightmares about she failed on him and yeah, all that stuff. But as that was the past, as another one of these walks around the entire UA, or actually walked right up to him, as he says, or he grunts at them like, but I'll do it in translation in my voice. So he says, well, they aren't helping me with this. And yeah, so the next day, Nezu told him to go to his office. So he did. Sorry, I burped. So he did. But he says, all right, Zuko, is that your real name? As he uses his voice, actual voice, like Zuko's his voice of, yeah, that's me. That's real me. So, as Nezu's like, so as he says, or actually Nezu says, you know why you're here, right? Am I in trouble or something? Yeah. Well, as he tells him, as he says, or Nezu says, you will be suspended for 1 week. Okay. Okay. And read the apology letter, right? Yes. How did you know? Oh. Well, the as he says, I'm still alive. The I as he's thinking, like, so you must be those earth movers creatures, right? Correct. My real self is still in the mines. And things a lot jerks were not searching for me. As he transforms into this, Nezu's like, calm down, Zuko, we will find you. Let's see. He's just please, okay? As he converts back into his human form. So, sorry about that. That was my moment. So, yeah, he transforms into and then of course Nezu says is like, we will find you. Don't worry, Zuko. As he converts back into his human form, and yeah, so he ends up like, of course, human form, or like Zuko says, hurry, I don't want to die alone. No one being there. Her. As rock tears comes down his face. As Nezu, and yeah, actually Midnight just walked in, or actually Midnight showed up before, and she saw that creature, this, but she didn't realize that it was one of the students. And she says, don't worry, Zuko, we will find you. So, they told the detective that about the case thing. As the detectives, like, that case that was from, like, 20, or no. I'm trying to think. But let's say the one that, like, 4-year-old kid went and got killed. Yes, that one. Zuko Midoriya. As he says, it's in the mines. The one that has radiation one. As they're like, yeah, that one. As he transforms into this, or actually chief of police told them, no, it's too risky. As he transforms into this. So he says, I'll take you down there. as he was bigger than the chief of police. Yeah. So, yeah. The team of, like, Endeavor, her Mountain Lady, and All Might, and Rabbit Girl, and 13, and Miss Rizella, and her went, put their, like, radiation suits on, and yeah, they went down, following him as the earth tremors, or those, those giant creatures from Tremors, the movie. Well, they under his control, so he told them to let them pass, as they did, as they're like, they go by past, and they see Zuko, a 4-year-old Zuko, in one of these things. So, yeah, they were scary. Like, they were like Endeavor's trying to keep his composure. So, yeah, he basically saw that, as most of them are like, has that face or that face. As, yeah, so Endeavor and, like, the rest of them walked over and took the crystal thing out. As, yeah, it was during the sports festival. So, or before a sports festival. So they took him out, as Nezu says, now we just had to break him free from it. As he like had pickaxes and drills, but the chemical that was surrounding it was 100 times harder than anything they even encountered. So they had to use diamond tools, like the best ones around, and it cracked. As he sticks out his hand, lifts his entire body, and as he or actually they took him to the hospital, and Inko was, or actually, All Might had Inko's number, so he called her and says, Inko, bring your family down to the doctors, because there's something important for you. Oh. Yeah. So he ends up, Inko shows up as they couldn't, as Nezu says, hello, Inko. And, like, they start talking about, like, it's, okay? So they come with me as they went to his room, and they saw a 4-year-old Zuko laying on the bed as his body's and he says he's been in, you see that cocoon over there, as Nezu points a paw at it, or like one of the fingers of the paw at the cocoon shell, as Inko couldn't believe that her brother survived, or no, Inko couldn't believe that her son survived that, and sending earth movers up. So, yeah. As the radiation in his body was spilling out. So because he still has like connections to the earth, and he could create plant life at will. So yeah, as he regained consciousness, like so let's do a time skip to the age of, or no, to All for One against All Might. Because when he's still hooked to, or before All Might and All for One, so he woke up, he regained consciousness as he knew that All for One was behind it. So he ends up lying right out of there, and he went in full throttle, like in his rage mode. So he ends up going full speed, and right before All for One, or like after, no, during, or after he says any last words, as they hear this like a car going 100 miles per hour, like fast as lightning, hitting All for One all the way to the sun. Yeah. as he went in, like, so, but his quirk, or he had fire manipulation, mind control, or like attracting, and everything else. Or actually, those two, and then after that, he gained, or his body fused with the other quirks, or like fused with the entire world and the universe. So he can fly in space. Breathes in space too. So he goes in and kills all for one. And right then and there, as he goes right through the sun, all for one was not so lucky. He was like subdued to ashes. So he flies back to Earth, and all that radiation thing that he was actually melted away off of him. So he still has, he basically has the powers of everything. So, yeah. And he's still, but there's no like radiation levels for him that are too high. So he ends up because Zuko, age of 4, got like the same coincidence, except for instead of pushed down to the ground, he became a cocoon. And yeah, then he became, or actually his, during the sports festival thing, he shows up before, as he says, "Hey, little sister." "Hey, Zuko, and how are you doing in the hospital, by the way?" As everyone's like, he's not sick. "Oh, you're talking to," or actually, they said you're mentioning real Zuko. This is his conscious self, like one of his earth tremors. As they're like, "Wait, what do you mean?" As go show him, as he transforms into these, as he says, "My real body's at the hospital, but I won't miss it for the world." Okay? Yay! As she says that, "Thanks, brother." As he's still participating in it. So, yeah. Now, we move on to, I'm skipping the dodgeball thing. Oh, so Overhaul. Oh. 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 Was against Zuko. Both Zukus. Or actually, should I say, Tremor. Or all the Tremors and him. So, yeah. As Mr. Says, thank goodness you're back with us. As a 4-year-old, Zuko says, "Yep, that's a good thing." But I did learn one thing. As he caught up on all of his work thing. So, yeah. As Nezu says, or not Nezu, Eraserhead says, huh, well, you're pretty slick. As Momo and Rest couldn't believe a Zuko that they had as a classmate was actually the Earth Mover, and the real one was in the cocoon. So, yeah. And actually, so when he took a shower, or like, as he says, it feels pretty good. As he became a 15-year-old kid, he looks just like that. As he was buff as like All Might. He still had green hair things spiked, and yeah. He's basically one tough cookie. So, yeah. As Momo is so interested in Zuko, yeah, and Ochako was interested, like, basically every single girl from class 1A and 1B had interest in him. So, yeah. Oh, and yeah, so when they saw the 15-year-old, or actually as he says, it's been forever, guys, since actually seen you in person. He's seen the entire world through my Earth Mover's eyes. And speaking of that, as he walks up to All Might and punches him right in the stomach, and he says, that's for her killing me a bunch of times, or you jerk. As All Might said, sorry, we didn't know it was you till... Hey? But other than that, it's no big deal. It's... Hey? As... Yeah. Eraserhead says... Or is thinking, so he can see through... the... person's eyes. So he was the one that controlled the Earth Mover that as Zuko looks at him and says, I know you're thinking about me. And yeah, I had to take out my aggressions on them because of they were the ones that did that to me. So, yeah. Or actually, when they were... Because he actually turned himself into a... Like... When he was 4 years old, every news reporter did like a lot of interviews with him. Like, how did it feel to be trapped in that mining or gold mines? Well, at first it wasn't pleasant. It isn't, because without any hope, like without anyone there for me, I would have just been dead. But that's why I had to send earth movers to try to get some help. But the heroes tried to kept killing them. As he actually did the saddest one. Everyone knew that his voice says it all. So, yeah. Everyone, like Class 1A, accepts him, and 1B. So, yeah. He's basically... They all agree to keep him from getting disposed to chemicals again. As he says, and plus, they also gained the powers of the entire universe, multiverse. So, yeah, because the chemicals were actually had the infinity powers, like kind of like Thanos, but so yeah, it's just craziness. So yeah, living in that time capsule thing and turns into, or you go into like 4 years old, turns into, or stage 4 years old, yeah. So as he catch up on work, or all of the work, and yeah, he basically does that. So yeah, Endeavor trained him, and All Might gave One for All to Zuko. Because so yeah. And when he trained his body, or actually, yeah, he trained his body every single day, every single minute. So he wanted to become a pro hero. So yeah, he became the strongest man in the world. Kind of like One Punch Man, but he can use everything. Like, he can even summon, like, wind spirits or air movers to attack his opponent, or lava, or anything. So, yeah, his body can... He's basically strong as steel. Or, like, his body's stronger than anything. So, this is and for his ship, one was actually Momo Irozu. Or Momo. So, she gets, or actually, yeah. So I was thinking about doing like both plant girls, like their quirks, like hers and hers. But I'm like, nah. Or and plus, I just imagining doing it with her. So yeah, or let's do it to a mushroom girl. So yeah, they got dating and they got married and had a kid that could control mushrooms. Basically, the kid would had the like the powers of the mushrooms, controls mushrooms. So yeah, and yeah. So now this is the end of the video, and have a good night or day, and talk to you guys in the next video.